The biggest question that I've been asked about you, and also the question that I've been asked a million times, is your thoughts on Bonnie Blue.
Oh, Bonnie Blue.
She's a UK sex worker. She really blew up when she started saying that she's going to have sex with quote unquote
Barely legal
What the
teens.
fuck?
And
Yeah.
to think, like, yes, they are 18, but still, they are fucking babies.
They're children. And also
And
at school
you're making them sign these contracts that they have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't condone her work at all. I think it's vile.
Yes.
I've never supported any work.
So I'm actually really glad that this podcast episode was done, because I was kind of waiting to hear what Abby's opinion would be on Bonnie Blue. Look, and I know a lot of you guys watching this are probably gonna disagree, right? But if it's wrong for a man who's like 35, 40, to sleep with literally barely legal girls, isn't it the same thing when it's a woman? Like, it would be refreshing to hear a guy say, yeah, that's just wrong. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because I've had kids, I've got young boys, and it just kind of makes me feel disgusted towards, it's kind of like they're being predatory. Well, it's not kind of like, they are being predatory. It's sort of, I don't know. It's, I already think that there's a lot of stigma against women that do sex work and corn. And I think that that's an unfair stigma, especially when there's nothing wrong with being sexual. But I think that there's always got to be a boundary, and, they're right. 18, they're babies, mentally, emotionally, everything. And I actually, sometimes what can happen is, like, it's very damaging for a girl to go through that with a much older guy. Men may not realize this at the time, but when they, have like a Mrs. Robinson thing going on when they're, a very young adult or late teen, sometimes, not always, but sometimes they can end up actually hating women subconsciously, because they sort of feel like they're just sort of used, by these predators, which is exactly what it is. So, yeah. And look, I do understand to a degree that there are some guys that are like, oh, when I was like 15, 16, I had a crush on Miss, Smith or whatever. I understand that. However, I think it's very problematic to have double standards on this. I think if we're going to say it's bad for a man who's a couple of decades older to do that, then we need to be saying the same thing about a woman as well.